This is Charlottesville, Virginia, which I've just put up two tapes today about Charlottesville, Virginia. This is where Anastasia was murdered. As I was driving through in 1984, May the 4th or 6th, it was a Sunday. They have yet to admit what happened to her or that she's Anna. And she was. Romanov, Tsar Nicholas's family were killed. And anyway, I'm not going to go into anything else here. I just want to say this. They're having what is it, almost like a state of emergency. I think that's what they just said over there, because as I put on the video that I put up, let me scoot back here so you can, I don't know, I just bit my lip, my lip bad, so I wanted to get this up there. I don't know if you can see, but anyway, just prior, they put up the name of three young people that were murdered. They worked for, I believe, a pizza place, I'm not sure, on Bent Mountain. The young man that killed them, well, I didn't get all their names, but it would kind of fit in. I pretty much know and can tell when one's a little. Not always. Mind control can be used, and it's absolutely not in any patterns. So I wouldn't know those. So I'll retract that. The ones done in patterns. From the names and where they lived and everything, I would say totally, and what the young man said, totally say that it's mind control. Now I want you to listen to this. I have been telling about mind control murders as I told about my kidnapping. I had written a book, medical malpractice book, and tried to get it published, and the names in it and the cases were, and what it led to, one was Dr. Larry McDonald, U.S. Congressman, and later, after they tried to kill me, April Fool Day of 80, he ends up supposedly going down in the KAL en route from Juneau, Alaska to Seoul, South Korea. And Richard Nixon, who is of the Watergate, and you can go back on the 18-minute tapes they played when I worked for the district attorney in 1980, Fred Simpson. They role-played, or they played the tapes and did not the real tapes, but the 18.5-minute gap. And I remembered Henry Kissinger, who was the defense secretary and Secretary of State under Richard Nixon. Those tapes were subpoenaed during the Watergate, and they were, destroyed, really is what happened. On that tape is where I was being held over in a clinic, taken there by Victor Gonzalez, so-called doctor. And by the way, I'm not going to say anything else. He's lived on, and his son is a doctor. So they've never paid a price, and there's a lot of things this man did that is so sick it's beyond belief, and gotten away with it. But they laid me out on the table to have a lobotomy done on me. And Henry Kissinger was at the other end, and that's the Watergate tapes. If the British or my family didn't come through with the demands, I would be lobotomized. And I was awake. I had been given by Gonzalez in a cup of coffee, something that I knew what was going on, but I was paralyzed. And I'd taken across to College Park, the old trolley tracks there. There was a small clinic that was white, and back in 1982, it was still there. I remember a group of nurses and doctors that I could see. I knew all that was going on. I just couldn't do anything about it. And Gonzalez stood over me, and a doctor behind me, and they had masks on them. Their faces. Right across the hall, small hall, was, I'd say, 6 people. And a couple of them at least were women. And I was trying to call out. Now I know they were there not to protect me, but to help do to me whatever needed they were told to do. Now, I'm watching, I wrote about mind control, and I mentioned Larry McDonald, congressman, doctor, he's just congressman. And so was Sonny Bono, who smacked a tree skiing, and you should see the timeline and everything on that. He was married to Cher, but he was U.S. Congressman. You would think they would, if they didn't give a rat's about me, they want to cover up. They kidnapped me, JFK. Helped kidnap me. His father was appointed ambassador to England in 1936. Listen to the timeline, by Franklin Delano Roosevelt. And this gets into the Illuminati. Took down my father. He never married Wallace Simpson. That was a double. There were more than one doubles. And it was illegal title of Duke and Duchess of Windsor. My father was married to Claudia Ruth O'Keefe from Madison, Wisconsin, Sun Prairie, Wisconsin, sister to artist Georgia O'Keefe. A beautiful lady. They were married in the Church of England. I was christened in the Church in the Church of England. And the minute I was born Victoria II, Queen, and that was legitimate, all of it. Went through proper channels because they took my father down because he would not follow the orders of the Illuminati, and they installed George, the illegal six, because he went right along with them. It's the opposite of what he tried to tell. That's what infuriates me, that history will tell you he didn't want it, Elizabeth didn't want it. The hell they didn't. Elizabeth, all of them have had a chance to come forth and tell the truth, especially the last year. They've always known about me, always known that Wallace Simpson married a double. I say dig up, if you could get a DNA expert to tell the truth, dig up the fraud that pretend to be my father that's buried at Windsor Frogmore, and let's see who he really is. My mom and dad were alive October the 20th, 1986, when I came to Roanoke, Virginia. Now I want to get back to what was just on TV. I've told you that the patterns, the mind control murders, I had a letter from the FBI. I thought it was just because of the book I was writing about mind control and chips being put in root canals, and I told about a lot of the murders that were done using the weapon of mind control. Now if you read up on it now, I've only read a little the past few days. Really, my phone was taken. I just got it back. I couldn't upload or anything. Well, it was out of commission, and then one person stole it. How quaint, and brought it back when they couldn't do anything to it. Anyway, to make a long story short, they can do it by computers, and they can do it mass. So they can really, the global government that came to power because they took my father down and kidnapped me and invaded the UK. That's like invading Washington and taking it over here. And then they kidnap me. It'd be like kidnapping your president, or etc. But the United Nations came to be, and all these illegal treaties is what it is, after they took down my father and kidnapped me. So just look at the timeline, 1936 and 1942 when they kidnapped me. 41, excuse me. Now I want to get back to this, what I was just going to say. The patterns had to do with timelines, etc., and places where I am, or it doesn't have to be that. It can be like they use my sons, Mark and Scott, who are heirs after me, their names, and the fact that twins are involved is one of the things. They took me to Alabama and gave me the name of a twin, Peggy Ann Dempsey Childers, and I still have to use the name Peggy Childers. My name's Margaret Ann Windsor, Queen Victoria II. And I know that Margaret Windsor's also Elizabeth's sister's name, and by heavens, that woman didn't care either about me. All she cared about was money, and Elizabeth has used my money and my hell to look at. I've put this up on Facebook and YouTube. All that family, her nieces and nephews, I don't know about that, but Margaret's children, and give them titles. And Fergie's, well, that's her son's, but she's a war criminal. She represents the global government, the Illuminati that kidnapped me and put her father in and her illegally. Now I'm going to go back to, I'm jumping around. I hope you can get the gist of it. Twins, they were putting me there in Moulton. It was a drop site, dump site. The horrible condition, but the horrible people, the things, disgusting, sick things they did that I grew up having to put up with, and be the abuse. I'm so tired of it all. Anyway, I wanted my father's name cleared. My mom, for who she is, from Madison, Wisconsin. And what's been done to me and my sons, Mark and Scott, now that my whole head's going out here. Air conditioning, I don't know if it went off or what. TV went off. How's that? Charlottesville was on. Not funny. It's sad that I've spent my life caring about people, and I really do and did. And then I found out that most of the people here, to my face, when I've starved and lived on the Appalachian Trail because I had no food or clothing or place to live but the side of the road where I could get raped, etc., they would flat tell me too many times, I don't care what's happening to you. I don't want to hear it. And I've been told about people, well, I know about the Illuminati, the Freemasons, and I want to live a good life and my children as long as we can, and I'm not going to help you. We're not going to help you. Okay, there have been a few good souls here in this country, but the main source came from my family in Germany, the Germans, and I think Russia. The Romanovs tried to help me. But the Brits, not Elizabeth, but the British people, okay? And the British government, I'm going to go ahead and say that. I think there were people there. Well, I know there were. Anyway, Charlottesville, the University of Virginia, has got some other things that happened other than Anastasia being murdered, which was enough. And it was her, and there were documents given to me by the caretaker for 18 years for Manahan. He was a professor there at Charlottesville. He married Anastasia, and they lived out in Scottsville. I had a farm out there not far from Charlottesville. This caretaker ended up being put in state prison, was almost killed. Someone had Xerox these documents that were in Charlottesville in the court. These were copies from the court, the trial, where members of Anastasia's family came here and tried to get some things that, this is after Anna died. But I'm not going to get into the real estate dealer and the lawyer that caused a lot of hell, and I'm not going to get into it. And, well, I'm not going to say anything else right at the moment. I pray that it's all told. They don't want any of this told. But what's going on here? Let me say this first. I'm going to give just one. The mind control shootings when Martin David Chapman was one of them that shot John Lennon. That's when I was working for Fred Simpson, as in, it was like clues, me finding out later in '83 when I was in a political campaign to replace the Congressman Doctor I was writing about, was one of them. And that was a program shooter, the one that shot Larry Flint. George Wallace was a program shooter. But you can make a cure an illness or create an illness. It's the Tesla files. And I said this earlier, when I started learning and seeing about the Tesla files, I found out they were stolen. And one of the people that got a hold of the Tesla files, let me put it that way, was Trump, President Trump's uncle. Now then, I like Trump. I think he's a good guy. That doesn't mean he is, but I believe he is. But anyway, I'm going to leave it there. And I'm getting back to this. If anybody still is on here and cares, it's the shootings of Gabby Gifford, the U.S. Congresswoman. Remember, I ran for Congress. She was shot in Tucson, Arizona, at I think a press conference. She's U.S. Congresswoman. 12 were shot, and I don't know if they were all killed, or I don't know the results. They were injured or killed. She was shot, and she became an advocate against guns. Guns has nothing to do with this. They can do knives, or, they can program so many people now without their knowledge. It's sad. It's sick. Armies. Let me say this and get the Tucson. Gabby married twins. She married a twin. Mark Kelly, and Scott Kelly was the other twin. And by the way, he was up on the Space Lab a couple of years ago for 12 months. When he came back down, his DNA had been changed somehow while he was up there. They're twins, and they were identical. Now then, Mark Kelly, remember, they're twins, but I'm not going to get in the rest of it. This is one of the mind control murders, and a bit of the linkage there that they're in patterns in mind control was used on the shooter. By the way, the Las Vegas shooter, where they said they looked through his brain, because there wasn't a reason, a motive. Well, the motive isn't the one that's programmed, it's the programmers. So they're putting away the wrong people. Long story short, that's what I'm getting to. If this is going up and it's about over. Okay. Charlottesville, the young lady that was killed a year ago this Sunday, and I was living here. I had started living here. The lady at the desk has been here forever, a long time. Her name's Heather. The girl that was killed, they're just telling that the car hit her. Look at the video at the precision of what that car went through just to hit her. Okay, that's what's going on tonight over in Charlottesville. It's almost like they've set a state of emergency over there. The media has made a, I don't know what to say out of the girl that was hit and died, Heather Heyer. And the lady here's first name is Heather, and she's still here. And I've been here just before the shootings, about a month before. Well, not the shootings, but before. I'm trying to get this up. She was hit, and that was a year ago this Sunday. Now, just prior to them telling about this again, told about the three young people, 17, I think, in that area, that were killed, one girl and two boys. And a 17 or 18-year-old was supposed to have killed them. I'm not going to give the other, but anyway, the young man was on trial, and he's on death row, going to death row just like Scott Peterson. And there's so many on death row that have had mind control used on them. They're victims themselves, just like the ones that died. Real quick, he told them that voices in his head told him to do it. They can do this. This is what's been going on. And if they mention it to a doctor, automatically they'll say he's crazy, he's mentally ill, he's schizophrenic. Where have your doctors been in all this? Why have they not spoken out?